Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to another Topical Tuesday, which is the video where we take a look at the Lost Ark subreddit over the last week and we see what's been going on. Sorry, my brain's a little fried. It's been very warm today, and all I've done since waking up is play Uma Musume. And I'm finally taking a break from Uma Musume to make this video. I've probably put about 12 hours into Uma Musume over the last 2 days alone, which is quite excessive, but hey. This is a Lost Ark video, specifically a Lost Ark video where I just look at the subreddit and see what you guys have been posting and sort of just talk about it and give my thoughts. I'm going to open up this thread. And as always, like the video, makes me feel better, helps the video do better, and also consider subscribing if you're somebody who watches these videos, but you just don't subscribe and you come back every time, because I did just hit 7K, thank you guys so much, and we're going for 10K very, very slowly. 8K is the next stretch goal, smile face. Alright, let's do this. So, the first thread that I opened here is just a hot discussion that's been happening 12 hours ago. Pretty self-explanatory, I think, for the title. There should always be a Power Pass event. I think the game has reached a point that there should always be a pass to get you to at least the previous 1 or 2 continents to current content. Had a couple friends want to give the game a try this month, but there's no pass available. I love Lost Ark, but there's no denying the early campaign is an absolute slog. The endgame content is where all the fun is, but there's no way they'll get there in a reasonable amount of time. I get some may say it's a rite of passage and we did it, so they should too, but I think the game is hurting for new players as it is. No need to make it that much harder to get into. So I completely agree. This is something that I've been saying since basically the game came out, and Power Passes were like an event feature sort of cycle in the game. There should always be a Power Pass event, whether it's exclusively for new accounts or returning players only, or just a general Power Pass that's always going on top of maybe specific like new account bonuses in general. I don't know. But I do think that there should always be a Power Pass going on, or a Power Pass available for a returning player or a newer player. That being said, this isn't going to fix the problem with sort of the entire structure of how the game is built, I guess, for a lack of a better term, in that if you bring a new player, you could give a new player like 1700 item level for literally free, and it wouldn't really help them play the game. They would be able to start learning the game, but they wouldn't really be able to play it even still, for a bunch of different reasons. You're missing a bunch of different progression systems, vertical, horizontal, all that stuff. And of course, you're just knowledge gapped, right? The raids. But at least, like, that's what I mean with at least you can learn the raids, at least if you had the item level to learn them. But I don't know. The game needs something to be changed in like the core of how it's designed and the core of how it's like played, I guess. I don't know. And I think it's unreasonable to expect that to happen at this point in its lifespan. I think the game is probably not going to get changed in that major of a way. And that being said, there's no excuse to not have a Power Pass event just because the Power Pass wouldn't fix every problem that the game has. It would certainly be a band-aid fix, if nothing else, and I think a band-aid is better to help alleviate bleeding than to just let your fucking cut bleed forever, right? I think we would all agree. Agreed, but IMO, the game needs a general content restart. Hey, I didn't even read this comment. Agreed, but the IMO, the game needs a general content restructuring. It's a bit jarring making an account and being yeeted at 1580 or even tier 4 and having to learn your class, raid mechanics, honing systems, card, elixirs, transcendence, engravings, arc paths, crafting, life skilling, whatever else I'm forgetting, like horizontal content. 100,000 million trillion % agree. And he even agrees too that the Power Pass should be a thing, but this is also like a major problem even if you give a person like an endgame character, so to say. Release was great because it went from the mind-numbing campaign to easy Guardian raids to less easy Abyss dungeons, all the way to Argos and eventually Legion raids. To me, it makes very little sense that the older solo raids are straight up skipped. Vault and Gate 1 and 2 is a great tutorial to learn general game mechanics. Yeah, I completely agree. And I don't know how you fix this without like a massive overhaul. And I don't really know how you make it an attractive thing for them to want to do. I feel like fixing the need for Power Pass would be better than a permanent Power Pass. Again, that's also true, but given that one of these is something that happens over a very long period of time versus just an easy band-aid fix while they work on, hopefully, a more permanent solution. Needs a permanent story express. Definitely don't disagree with you there. I think that's a very fair assessment as well. And again, I think a lot of these systems need to just be completely reworked in general. But band-aid fix for now would be infinitely better than just doing nothing. Only he can save us. That's the golden frog. I don't think the golden frog can save you, man. We need a long-term fix, not a frog event. Facts. +1 for the Abydos toad. He should be holding a relic book, too. Guys, just buy fusions from the shop. It's that easy. Context of Lost Ark 2.0 Chinese stream. So there was a Chinese Lost Ark stream, basically China stuff. No real surprise here. But in China, their marketing tier 4 is Lost Ark 2.0. The main marketing tagline is come back to Lost Ark or start playing Lost Ark, and that the game is more new player friendly. That's cool. They're adding challenge mode. Aegir. Pretty cool. They're just getting Aegir end of July. Nice. I'm not going to read over all of this, but I will sort of slowly scroll it, so if you want to read it on your own, you can. But overall, it's just China kind of making their own like localized player changes or making the game better in their eyes for their like player base, which I think is good. Obviously, not all of the changes are necessarily good, but I think taking more liberties to try to make the game more, like, respectively, playable, I guess, is a better term. The term it's not really the term I'm looking for, but more welcoming for, like, your locale. China wants to bring back GVD revamped. That's crazy. Different Mokoko status channel is a mentor-apprentice system. They want to restructure the raid rewards in order to encourage players to raise their characters by shifting rewards upwards to higher levels. Basically the same thing that Korea said during Loa On. They want people to use their gold on actual gold sinks rather than exchanging to reduce tier 4 inflation spiking. Chinese players want Areha to be addressed. T3 Arehas are 85G each to ease advanced honing. They want people to whale +20 relic or +25 ancient weapons, so they're rewarding bound gold if you reach these in tier 4. That's funny. They delayed Valkyrie to September. They have progression changes planned during that time. Roster leveling boost is being extended to level 400. They aren't adding Aegir solo mode immediately. Community assumption is that Aegir solo mode will be added with Brel if not following their existing trend. Interesting. Like I said here, I'm not going to read all of it, but there's like a tier 4 capping gem update. They're capping the gems on the T4 update to only be able to go up to level 8 initially. Level 8, 9, and 10 will be released later, etc., etc. And then only the first stage of relic engravings will be opened in the same way, so you can only use 5 books. I think it's some interesting changes. I'm not necessarily sure if they're good or bad. I think we'll just have to wait and see what happens for them and see how they enjoy it. You know, the people that actually play the game. That version of the game, rather. Can anyone resurrect AGS? No. No, man. Relatively unpopular opinion from what I've read around here, but I really prefer this raid release system. No, I 100% agree. Oh, what this guy is saying, because I didn't mention it, but they stagger the release of normal mode and hard mode. So, like, normal Aegir is coming out on July 30th for them, and then hard mode is being released on August 13th. I think that's really, really smart. And it makes the game feel less punishing to the FOMO aspect of your brain, right? Obviously, FOMO is, like, mostly self-inflicted, but obviously companies try to use it to get you to play the game, right? The fear of missing out. But hey. AGS do something about books. Currently, books like Cursed All are over 2 mil to max out. Grudge and Adrenaline 3 mil and so on. It's probably around 15 mil to max out all 5 and more if you have alts. Brother, I don't know what server you're on, but Adrenaline and Grudge are like 4.5 mil to 5 mil to max on NA West. God bless. And it has been since they came out, and it's still that price, which is wild to me. Cursed All is over 3 mil to max now. If you got a standard spread of Adrenaline, Grudge, Cursed All, Keen Blunt, Raid Captain, it's going to cost you 20-25 mil of gold or a year of farming 500k a week and spending gold on no other aspect of the game. Yeah, see, that's the crazy part to me, and it's like people will say this is supposed to take a long amount of time. It's like, sure, I understand that, but where are you getting this gold from? Obviously, it's designed in a way to make you want to swipe for either gold or other aspects of the game in order to supplement the goals. And it's like, of course you don't need this and that, but you don't need anything at the end of the day, ultimately. So I think saying you don't need X, Y, and Z is like not the strongest argument you can make in the world. It's funny how we went from 20 books in 2 categories to now 20 books in 5 categories. Yeah, it's fucking insane. And back in the day, like, expensive books were like 20k each, and you only needed like 2 engravings at max. Even if both of your engravings were extremely expensive, you were still spending a fraction of what you're spending now, which is wild. Although you can also make the argument that you kind of needed the books back then. You didn't need them, but you kind of did. I don't know. It's a different landscape, man, but it is very interesting to point out for sure, for sure. Why is it still so expensive to hone a con gear? Long story short, it cost me almost 200k gold to go from 1600 to 1618 on my alt using both books and honing mats from the event shop. Might just be me complaining about nothing, but damn, it feels super expensive for someone who stopped playing for some time and came back. Yeah, that is awful. I think a lot of people understand this, but what are they going to do? Whenever it seems like there's 2 camps of people. There's the camp of people that obviously have, you know, been playing the game for a while and don't necessarily know how bad it is for people who haven't been playing the game this whole time, or the people who don't just like buy away a solution, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's still bad. 190k gold for an item level range where group rating is completely dead. Solo rating gives a fraction of what groups used to. Should honestly cost silver all the way up to 1620. It should cost silver all the way up to tier 4. I completely agree with that sentiment. So you go work 5 to 9 and spend half your salary on swiping to make multi-billionaires richer. Enjoy. Sadly, kind of true. You go to work to make a company much richer, and then you spend some of your paltry money on games to make the game playable. Oh, we live in a society, man. Call me the jonker. Regarding people crying about fake/new returnee criticism, it's Tuesday, Wednesday if you're EU. I have nothing left to do on the game, so I'm just yapping to a brick wall at this point. I'm going crazy, but I wouldn't even need to make this post to people who always bring up alt rosters will do 2 very simple things. Look through Reddit and Discord servers, try to hand level a character from 0 to 1640. I think this guy is referring to whenever people talk about like new player issues, you have people who are like, oh, people will just abuse this for alt rosters, and it's like, brother, I think most people who have a bunch of alt rosters at this point just get their accounts donated from people that quit or buy them off like a fucking marketplace for like 20 bucks. But bots are definitely a thing, but I don't think you should consider bots when you're sacrificing QOL for like a massive QOL. Not even QOL. This is not QOL. This is playability. Like playability for a player base. At that point, you just need to deal with bots in a different manner, I feel. And like target them specifically. I'm not going to read all of this post, but I remember reading this post. It's almost how it came about a week ago almost. And I remember reading this post, and I remember it was pretty well, yeah, I think it's well thought out, and I think I would mostly agree with everything. There are 2 people, I'm just going to read this, though. There are 2 groups of people I have a problem with. People who dismiss all criticism for making the game more accessible just because of the alt roster abusers. I addressed them already. When the market changes come to the West, they'll die out. People who treat their time and money spent on the game as an investment. Sorry to break it to you, it's not some trade market or, I don't know, Binance or whatever crypto market out there. It's a video game. It's a hobby, not an investment. Any money spent on a game, any money spent is money gone, whether you like it or not. 100% agree. I think too many people look at games as like investment vehicles or something similar. And it's like, while games can certainly have a market or an economy, I don't think you should look at a game ever as like money. I know skins and like assets within the game have a money equivalent value, but it's not the stock market, and it's not like a physical object like gold. It's not even a cryptocurrency. People have tried this with NFTs and shit, and it just doesn't work because NFTs themselves have no value because they're just fucking NFTs. And if you start balancing a game around the idea that these things are supposed to hold a value and should appreciate, or specifically shouldn't depreciate, you make the gameplay experience itself much worse. Anyways, Tuesday, innit, Governor? But I think that's what I'm going to leave it off with. Let me know what you guys think as always, and thanks for hanging out with me. I'll see you guys all in the next one. Remember, like the video, subscribe if you haven't, and you made it this far. Haven't I deserved it? Haven't I earned it? I mean, nobody is deserving of anything, but haven't I earned it, man? I'm going to go take a walk. I'll see you guys later. Stay beautiful. I love all of you. Thank you to my YouTube members, of course. Remix My Life, I'm Nufu, It's Biscuits, Inder, and Diz. Brother Chris out. Bye.